Hi there. Today we're going to be making a hand-built cup. We're going to start with a square of clay. This is about 2 pounds. And then we're going to throw it on a clean surface. And I want this 2-pound piece of clay to be at least 9 inches long. But I also want it to be thin, like less than ½ an inch thin. Okay, so we've widened this slab out. It's about that thin, which is about a little less than ½ an inch. And I have made a little cardboard template for this. This is 9 by 4 3/4. And we're going to use that for a template. I just use a needle tool and follow that. And we're going to save this little extra clay on the end here, okay? That will be the base of our cup. I'm going to remove that over here for now. Don't need the template again. I'm just going to pick this up. And you notice my surface got all wet. I'd like a dry, clean surface for this. Keep your edges nice. Get rid of any scumbles. If you have a rib, you can go over that gently. You don't want to leave marks if you can. A few are inevitable. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Okay. Our next step on this guy is to get a paper towel and soda can, and we're going to wrap the can with our paper towel. And I want that paper towel to be snug against the can, if I can. And have some pieces of tape ready and tape it. You do not want to tape your paper towel to the can because that'll defeat the purpose. This is making a sock, and it'll allow the clay to avoid sticking to our form, okay? Now, then what we want to do is very carefully we're going to roll this clay around the can, and I get to the other end, and hopefully there isn't much more of a overlap than you see there. Okay, I'm just gonna flap that down, and I'm just gonna make a 45-degree angle on the end so that when I go to overlap it, it's not doubly thick. Okay, so next what we'd like to do is, remember that piece of clay we had left over? We're going to take our can and we're going to use it for a template for our base. Okay. Now, both of these clays are really soft. So that's why they're want to stick together. I'm putting a little bit of pressure down on that. Okay. And you'll notice that I've got a little joint here. It's not quite sealing, but that's okay because we're going to next trim it to about 3 1/4 height, okay, 3 1/4. So go ahead and make your mark. And then I'm going to just eyeball it. I'm holding my needle tool stationary and just rotating the cup around. Hopefully they'll meet up in the same place. Oh yeah, that's a happy day. Now I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, you'll notice I got a little funny thing there. If that bothers you, you can put just a little bit of clay in there. So that we're roughly all fixed up. Now, I'm going to rotate this cup around on its base and push that down. I wanted it just a little slightly flared, okay? So grab your can, pull it out, then get rid of the sock. And we've got the basic of our cup. Now, make a coil, not a large one. And using your needle tool, just use your needle tool at the end and push it into that corner. It's just reinforcing that seam so we don't have the world's leakiest cup. You can't expect glaze to fill in all those holes because with top temperature, it's molten and runny, and it's going to just run out of the hole. So get that all nice and smooth. You should be able to get your fingers into the center of the cup to smooth, even if you have tiny, small fingers. Okay. Now, one reason I assigned this project is uniformly our pinch pots, the rims of our pinch pots were terrible. So I'm going to be looking real close at that this time. And what I want you to do is I have a wet sponge and I'm just going to go around and around. I don't want any right angles, and I want to clean that up. It doesn't take that long, and it makes a lot of difference. Your lips are going to be touching this, so it does pay to take some care. Now, this piece of clay, this cup, is really soft right now. And so after I get this done, I'm going to want to set it aside for a little while till it firms up. We're still going to have to attach the handle, so you don't want it to get really hard dry, but just enough so you can pick it up without it doing that. You can see that any movement really changes its shape. Something that I use for my cups, I have a little bit of a chamois. And I guess it comes from chamois. I've never seen a chamois except in the background on the Tour de France. And I don't think this actually comes from chamois anymore, but it's still called chamois. It's just a piece of leather, and it makes a nice finishing touch on my rim. Okay?
They sell them in auto body shops, I think, for polishing your car.
That's right. All chamois dream of being used to buff our cars. Okay. So that's pretty wet. We're going to set it aside, okay? So I'll come back and you're going to check it. If you had to leave it overnight, you would cover it with a piece of plastic, all right? So now I've got one that I made just a little earlier. Okay, so this one is, you can see I can pick it up and it's nice and smooth on the inside, and I need to put a handle on there. So to do that, I'm going to get a little container of water and a little chunk of clay, and you're going to use the water to keep your hands from sticking to the clay while you gently pull this out like you're milking a cow. And what I want is a taper here, a little wide there, and right now that's way too thick for my handle. So the pulling action thins that out ever so much each time. When I get close, I will cut it off, and I'm going to set it down on a surface. Just trim the bottom, and I'm going to cut that at about a 45-degree angle or so. Okay, and again, we might let that just set up for 10-15 minutes or so, okay? And after we do that, we end up, so you can see the difference. I've let this set up a little bit, and that's really wet, right? We want sort of like this. Now this one, we will score, put a little gooey clay on there, and also we're going to put a little bit of clay here, score it. Don't go too hog wild because we're not going to want any of these scratch lines to show. We'll have to clean them up. Also, you'll want to score down where the tail of your handle goes. And we take our handle, and I'm flapping it with my finger. And what I want is, I want that to sort of mushroom out the end of my clay a little. That little thin edge is really going to be easy to stick. I have my index finger underneath, and it's pushing against the pot. I have two fingers on the inside so I don't warp the heck out of it. And then I'm just going to go around and around that cup, pushing it in, smoothing my join. This will be hard for you to do. I want you to just do your best. Okay? Okay, so right now we have this handle more or less joined, holding the cup so that the handle is vertical. I'm going to get some moisture on my hand again, some clay, and I'm just going to give it a couple pulls to clean that surface up so it looks fresh. We don't want it to look all mangled. If you make this too thin, you'll need to start over. Okay, and then when I pulled it out to where I think it's okay, I'll pull the cup up, bend the cup handle into a nice curve, and I'll attach it. How you attach it here is whatever way you want, but get it on there, right? So now, I've got just a couple more things to do. I'm just going to go around that, clean that up a little bit. Go around that rim again, and if your rim has gotten warped out of round while you were doing your handle, this is the time to fix it. And one more thing. So I'm going to sign it. I use a stamp. I've got my finger on the inside and I'm just pushing in. However, you may want to sign it. The bottom of this is flat. If you don't like that, you can push it in a little, gently, or not. And you can sign it on the bottom if you want. That's fine. Okay. And that's our cup. We're going to want 4 of them. And thank you.